Have you ever noticed someone who has social media accounts but never posts anything? Their profile picture is years old. Their bio is blank. Their last post was from 2019. They're there, watching, scrolling, liking occasionally, but they never share anything about their own life. People think they're mysterious, antisocial, or hiding something. But psychology says people who never post on social media aren't trying to be secretive. They're protecting their peace, their privacy, and their sense of self in a world that demands constant performance. Let's break down the real psychology behind people who never post on social media. 1. They value privacy over popularity. In a world that rewards oversharing, some people just refuse to participate. Psychologists say these individuals have a high privacy orientation, meaning they're protective of their personal information and selective about what they share with the world. They don't see the appeal of broadcasting their life to hundreds or thousands of people. Research shows that people who prioritize privacy often have stronger boundaries and higher levels of self-sufficiency. They don't need external validation to feel good about their experiences. A beautiful sunset, a great meal, a personal achievement, these things are meaningful to them whether or not anyone else knows about them. They're not hiding. They're just living without needing an audience. And in a culture obsessed with being seen, that's actually radical. 2. They don't need validation from strangers. Most people post on social media because it feels good to get likes, comments, and attention. But people who never post, they've either outgrown that need or never had it in the first place. Psychologists call this internal locus of evaluation, where self-worth comes from within rather than external approval. Research shows that people with secure self-esteem don't rely on social media metrics to feel valuable. They know their worth doesn't increase with followers or decrease with a lack of engagement, so they see no point in posting. Why share something just to see if strangers approve? They'd rather keep their life private and their confidence intact. They're not insecure. They're secure enough not to need constant reassurance that their life matters. 3. They're anxious about judgment and criticism. For some people, not posting is a form of self-protection. They're terrified of being judged, misunderstood, or criticized. Psychologists call this social anxiety or fear of negative evaluation. Every potential post feels like a risk. What if people think I'm showing off? What if no one likes it? What if I say the wrong thing? Research shows that people with high social anxiety often avoid posting because the thought of being perceived, analyzed, or judged by others is unbearable. So they stay silent. They observe instead of participate. It's safer to watch from the sidelines than to put themselves out there and risk rejection. Their silence isn't confidence. It's fear disguised as discretion. And every day they don't post, that fear gets stronger. 4. They're protecting their mental health. Some people stop posting because they realize social media was destroying their peace. The comparison, the pressure, the performative nature of it all became toxic. Psychologists say this is a healthy form of digital detachment or conscious disengagement. They're not against social media. They're against what it does to their mental health. Research shows that heavy social media use is linked to increased anxiety, depression, and feelings of inadequacy. So they keep their accounts to stay loosely connected but refuse to contribute content. They scroll occasionally, maybe like a friend's post, but they're not feeding the algorithm with their own life. It's a boundary, a way of saying, I'll engage on my terms, not yours. And honestly, that's self-awareness a lot of people lack. 5. They're private people who don't trust the internet. Let's be real. Some people just don't trust that anything online is truly private or temporary. They've seen screenshots, leaks, cancel culture, and how quickly things can be taken out of context. Psychologists call this digital skepticism or privacy consciousness. They understand that once something is online, it's permanent, and they're not willing to risk their reputation, career, or relationships for a moment of sharing. Research shows that people who are more cautious about digital footprints tend to be more analytical and risk-averse. They think long-term, and in their view, the risks of posting outweigh the benefits. They're not paranoid, they're careful, And in an age where everything is documented and weaponized, their caution might actually be wisdom. 6. They're observers, not performers. Some people are naturally wired to watch rather than participate. Psychologists call them observers or introverted processors. They're fascinated by human behavior, trends, and what others share, but they have no desire to perform themselves. Research shows that introverts often prefer consuming content over creating it because creating requires energy, self-promotion, and vulnerability. They'd rather observe quietly, learn, and reflect than put themselves in the spotlight. It's not shyness, it's preference. They find value in watching, and they genuinely don't feel the need to contribute their own voice to the noise. In a world where everyone's shouting for attention, their silence is intentional, not accidental. 7. They've outgrown the need to document everything. There's a certain maturity that comes with not feeling the need to post every moment. Psychologists say this reflects present moment awareness and reduced FOMO. These people have realized that experiencing life is more important than proving you're living it. Research shows that people who are less focused on documentation report higher levels of life satisfaction and presence. They're at dinner and they're actually enjoying the food, not photographing it. They're on vacation experiencing the moment, not curating content. They've learned that memories don't need to be validated by strangers to be real. And honestly, that's a level of emotional freedom most people are still chasing. They're not missing out. They're fully present. And that's something social media can't replicate. 8. They don't want to be perceived or understood through posts. Some people never post because they know that social media creates a distorted version of reality. Whatever they share will be interpreted, judged, and misunderstood. Psychologists call this fear of misrepresentation or desire for authentic connection. They'd rather be known through real conversations, in-person interactions, and genuine relationships than through curated images and captions. Research shows that people who value depth over breadth in relationships often avoid social media self-presentation. They know that a photo can't capture who they are. A caption can't explain their thoughts, and they refuse to reduce their complexity to content. They want to be understood fully or not at all, and social media doesn't allow for that kind of depth, so they opt out. So if you're someone who never posts on social media, know this. You're not weird. You're not antisocial. You're someone who's chosen privacy, presence, and peace over performance. And in a world that pressures everyone to share everything, your silence is powerful. It's a statement that your life belongs to you, not to an algorithm. And if people want to know you, they can reach out, have a conversation, and build a real connection. Because you're not hiding. You're just refusing to perform. And that's not a weakness. That's strength. If you love understanding the psychology behind how people navigate the digital world, subscribe now. Because on this channel, we're decoding the choices people make and the meaning behind them.